Hi, my name's AudreyGale and I do art. Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about why I no longer do custom pet portrait commissions. Now that's not to say that I just completely cut them out of my business. I will post from time to time that I have a handful of slots available for commission work only when I want to do it or I have the time to do it, particularly around the holidays. That seems to be popular. But overall, I went from a small business artist who was doing 100% pet portraits to now I just kind of do them every once in a while, and I focus on things that I want to create, and I focus on things that can be enjoyed by the masses versus just that one family who owned that one dog. The first reason I no longer do pet portraits is because they usually would take 20 to 30 hours on average per portrait. And you're talking about, I'm talking about like a 8-inch by 10-inch color pencil portrait. Wouldn't really do a lot of painted pet portraits at that time because I wasn't as skilled in painting at the time that I was offering it. I was really just offering the color pencil portraits, and they would take me about 20 or 30 hours to do. And this was because when it comes to any sort of commission, especially when it's a person or a pet, you have to be very meticulous about every little hair and every little, spot on their body so that it looks like their dog. The kind of art that I make, it's definitely not realistic, but it's definitely not abstract or playful in any way that you can do a more loose representation and get away with it. So that's why it would take just so long to do all of these commissions. Because I had all my time taken up by these 20 or 30 hour projects, it would keep me from doing other projects that I did want to do. I just didn't have the time for. Because those pet portraits took so long, you could imagine what those might cost for me to do if you're talking about an hourly pay rate. So for an 8 by 10, I would usually charge at most $150 or $200. Bye, Franny. So I was essentially very much underselling my work, devaluing my work. And that brings me to my second point, is that people want something for nothing. I could not sell pet portraits for more than $200. They would not sell. It was almost like pulling teeth to get them to spend $150. They just simply did not see the value in the pet portraits. They didn't understand. Like, I might tell them that it takes me 20 or 30 hours to make because I would get that question asked to me a lot, but they didn't, they really couldn't compute like 20 or 30 hours of work is worth a lot more than $200. So it just wasn't feasible. It was not feasible for me to keep doing pet portraits at that rate. And then if I charged more, then nobody was buying them. And that was the other thing, is that 10 months out of the year, people were not buying them. I did pretty all right on Etsy for a number of years, like around 2017, 2018. That's when a lot of people were really popping off on Etsy. The problem is that I was only doing well from about like mid-November to the first 3 weeks of December. So like mid-November to the first 3 weeks of December, I would get inundated with orders and DMs. It was to the point where I actually had like a 4-month waiting list out till April from people ordering, and I would, they would order like maybe the week of Thanksgiving. That's when it really seemed to be popping for me. I would get a lot of people order or DM me the week of Thanksgiving, and sometimes I had availability and sometimes I didn't. These things take a long time to create, and then everyone wants it by Christmas, and the math ain't mathin'. I simply cannot make that many in like a 3-week span of time, because most of the time you've got to get those portraits in the mail at the latest, like December 15th-ish, in order to guarantee a Christmas delivery. So, you're really working with about 3 weeks. People simply didn't understand that these things, they take a lot of time. So you have to order ahead of time. And some people would, but most people would not. So some people would gladly get on the waiting list and, they tell their loved one, hey, I have a pet portrait coming for you in February, and I would deliver. But honestly, probably more than half of them, they would either order or DM me, and I would say, hey, I can get you that in April. And then they would be like, no thanks. So I would have to give them a refund. So the orders were there, but I'm one person, I can only do so many in one holiday season. That 4-month wait list that I had, that was like all I was doing. I would work a full-time job, and then I would come home and just draw to the point where I wasn't even enjoying it anymore. It was just way too much. The deadlines were way too tight. It just took the fun out of it for me. Another reason why I stopped doing as many commissions is that people would give me terrible reference photos. If you're an artist, you need good lighting, you need something that's going to be at the right angle, that shows off a lot of the dog's features. And I would get blurry phone pics taken in like 2009. I would get photos where like the dog's eyes has that shine in the camera, couldn't even see what their eyes looked like. Their fur was blurry, or they would be like looking off one way and their head was blurry. And then they'd be like, well, I know that the dog's looking right here, but can you have him looking this way? And no, I can't. I can't work with that. And that would come up a lot for people, like giving portraits as gifts, because it's like, oh, well, I want to get it for my cousin, but I don't have a photo of the dog. And some people would get gift certificates. That did okay. But most people would just send me a really bad photo, and I did the best I could with it. But, the better the photo I would have, the better the portrait would come out to be. And I would hate to deliver anything less than that. I don't know. To me, the artist, the art didn't turn out as good when I had a bad photo. And all I was doing was posting commission work a few years back. I was getting a lot of people reaching out, interested, and very few people would follow through. Understandable, but also like that just takes up a lot of my time for something to fall through. Another thing about custom work, when it comes to doing pet portraits or just like individual people, there's really no way to leverage that at all. And what I mean by that is, you draw it once, it takes you X amount of time, you send it off, and that's it. You've got, for yourself, the artist, you've got a photo of it for your portfolio, and that's great. But most of the time, you can't make prints of it, you can't do stickers of it, you can't do anything that can stand the test of time for your art business, that can, something that you can work on one day and then that can pay you this day. And for that reason, at least for me, it just isn't a feasible way to make money as an artist. And for all of these reasons combined, it just made me not enjoy it anymore. That's not to say that I don't love drawing a dog or a cat. I am kind of known for dogs. It's kind of my thing. And because they're some of my favorite things to draw. I mean, who doesn't love a smushy dog face? I'll still draw dogs. I'll still paint dogs. I love people's reactions from them. When it comes to drawing Rover down the street for your grandma, I mean, maybe I'll do it at Christmas. Hit me up later. So for all of these reasons, I've really had to shift my thinking when it comes to how I want to make an art business plan for myself. I've decided that commissions are going to be a very small percentage of what I make money from, at least when it comes to small art. Murals are a different story, but I've now decided, why would I spend 20 or 30 hours making a pet portrait that I can sell one time, when in that amount of time I could make probably 4 or 5 different paintings or drawings that I can sell as originals, but also replicate in theory forever as prints, essentially creating an infinite stream of cash flow. Kind of. It's a lot easier to make something like this or this and sell it as the original for X amount of dollars, and then have maybe 100 prints of this thing and sell them each for $10 to $20. Not only is that more cost effective, it's better for your time, it's more efficient. People can easily afford something in that price range and will gladly pay for that. There's not a lot of hesitation in that price point, so it's a lot easier to sell. Only your grandma cares about your grandma's dog. I can't sell your grandma's dog to 400 people, but I can, in theory, sell something like this or this to 400 people. It's more of a subject that appeals to a mass audience, right? It's not so personal. It's not so specific. And I like the idea of making people happy with my art, even if it's more simplified and not so specific. Yeah, it might be something as simple as a croissant or a pizza, but a lot of people like those things. They can, pay $15 as a print, have it in their home, and look at it every day and have some form of happiness, then that's kind of the whole point, right? I know that's the kind of art that I have in my house. That's the kind of art that I buy. All this to say, I'm not saying goodbye to them forever. I just needed to take a step back because it's just not an attainable long-term thing for me. If you're an artist and you've been doing commissions and feel similarly, please let me know in the comments. This is not the first time I've heard some of these things. I know a lot of artists struggle with the whole commission thing. Tell me what your thoughts are about commissions. Do you love them? Are you done with them? Are you never gonna do them again? Thanks for watching today's video. Bye.